Welcome to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the podcast dedicated to the commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group and a certified special trainer. Our goal is to shine a light on what we believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. We love the work we do, and we are glad you're here listening to the podcast. This episode, we catch up with Dusty, talk about life, work, and more. So, all right. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles podcast. Tonight, we're down one and plus one. So we got Rich Ortega, myself, and Dusty is back. So we're going to catch up with Dusty on where he's been the last, 6-8 months probably? It's been a while.
Gosh, Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's been a while, so we're going to catch up with Dusty, see what's going on. Jason's out with some family stuff, so just keep Jason in your thoughts and prayers. He could use it right now. So what's up, Dusty?
Not a lot, man. Just hanging out, working. And I don't even know how long it's been since I was on. Was it 6 months ago?
Probably.
Yeah, it was like last summer.
It's been a while.
It was hot because I was outside when I was doing it. So that's all I remember. No, I just yeah, I was. I'm bummed I couldn't do the porch tonight. I thought about it, but it's like I think it's like 40 tonight. I could probably do it, but
Nice.
Yeah, just been working at I think a new place than I was last time. Just I don't know. Last year was kind of a crazy year. Pretty much it was a Murphy's Law year and some trials, some tribulations, but also a lot of good come-ups, a lot of good positivity came out of it. So so I've just kind of been focusing on that, working, learning some new stuff, working on some new stuff, and just trying to be the best I can be,
Yeah, that's all we can ask. That's all we can try to do. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked, off and on about some stuff you're working on, around some stuff by us and, some stuff you're working on you weren't comfortable with or you didn't know about, and we always talk, about work and, struggles with things we do at work. So we've been in contact, just, you just haven't been on the show, You're still part of it anytime you want to come back, so.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. That's what I was thinking the other day. We were supposed to be on last week, and I got hung up on that walk-in cooler. Like, perfect timing. I had to rewire that whole evaporator. It was one of those ceiling-mounted ones, evaporators. So they put the wires in that channel, and apparently it shorted out. So I just rewired the whole damn thing. So it was supposed to be a 20-minute job, but
You broke the first rule of service work: is never put a time frame on a job.
I said that to myself. I was like, I'll be in and out 20 minutes. And then because I was actually just replacing a motor, and then I found all that. And I was like, that's why I sent y'all the picture. I was like, never mind, guys.
So I had a guy, he rewired a walk-in, and the only wire he had was that high-temp wire, and he used it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it all shorted out. It lasted until it got wet, and it just shorted out. I was like, what in the hell? I was like, no, dude.
How did he think that was going to work?
I mean, I guess just a quick trip to Lowe's would have saved you some. I mean, why not? Just go ahead and put some wire there. I mean, the high temp works, I guess, but all that moisture, it's not supposed to work in that. Well, it won't work in that application.
Yeah.
I've used it in place of like regular wires, but like
the dry application is fine.
Yeah. I use the fiberglass tape a lot too. If I don't have any in my bag, I just wrap it up with that. So
sweet. So you went to work for another company. You're still doing a restaurant, but you're trying to do some other stuff too. So that's cool. It's always, you always want to grow. You always want to keep learning. So you're on the right path. It may suck some days, but you'll get it figured out.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I do some chillers and cooling towers and some boilers now. I've always been interested in getting into that. And I've always been big on, it's kind of annoying because, if I start to learn a certain avenue in the trades, I always want to like hurry up and then learn something else and just kind of build a repertoire. Which is something I'm trying to like take back, like chill out, like you'll take more time with this and that. But once I'm comfortable with something, I'm ready to move on, to something else and figure out how this works. And that way you can I just think that makes you more valuable as a technician. Yeah. But I've been doing that, water source heat pumps, which are, it's all pretty much set up the same way. You just got to get comfortable with the controls and all that. And then, normal hot side. that we've always been doing. I worked on a henny penny today, fryer on a pump, and I'm always reminded, like, those are like the only days where I kind of contemplate. I'm like, like.
On the pump on a henny penny, what'd you have to do to it?
Well, I'd replaced the pump because the last one, I don't know what had happened, but I wasn't getting any suction at all with it standalone. So I'd put a new pump on it, and I put it all back together. And one of the hose that actually goes to the selector valve had a crack in it, and it was all the way in the back where it bends. So if you're looking from the front and even from the bottom, you can't really see it. And I'd put everything back together, and I still wasn't getting suction. So I took everything. I took the intake hose off, and I had great suction at the pump. So it was just one of those, head scratchers until I pulled everything out and I saw the crack in it. And I was actually looking to clean it out, and I saw you could see the light on the other side. I was like, damn it, this whole time, here it is. So I just replaced that hose. But I mean, outside of that, the check valves and the selector valves are clean because I cleaned those. That was one of the first things I did. So,
is that one of the ones that one of those ones you were showing with this 5/8 player you were trying to find last week?
No, that's a different one. Man, that's actually the third henny penny that I've worked on. Filter pump issues. The one a couple weeks ago, I just ended up changing out the home motor and pump, and then this other one, I had some issues with that. I changed the pump on that one. And then the one recently from the day I changed the pump, which that pump was put in like 2 years ago. But it's, I wasn't getting any suction generated out of it. I took it apart, checked the impellers, and those little impellers were kind of like smoothed out. And I don't know if it was like that from factory or what, but it was rolling around in there. You could kind of hear it make noise. So I don't know what caused it to pop, but I mean, I was pretty frustrated with the we won't get into that, but
yeah, I don't do a whole lot of henny penny. It's hit or miss. Occasionally, I will pick up some Arby's and I'll get some thrown at me, but very rare that I do a henny penny. I don't mind them. I'm not one of those guys that just because I don't work on something, I want to say it's junk. That drives me nuts. Like guys won't work on something, say all they work on is Pitco's or henny pennies, the Fry Master's junk, or if they don't work on Pitco's, all they work on is henny penny or Fry Master Pitco's junk. I'm like, no, it's junk because you don't work on it. You don't understand how it works. It's not junk. You don't get it. You don't work on it enough. And I mean, it's just part of the process.
Exactly. Which I don't mind. I like henny penny. I mean, I think the way they set it up is it's intelligent. It's engineered really well. And it's actually really simple to work on compared once you learn how everything works. But the first couple times I've worked on some, it was almost like, why would they do it this way? And then once you get comfortable with it, you're like, oh, and then you work on another manufacturer, and then you're like, oh, well, henny penny does this better. So it's like you just get you. It's like a long time ago, I was talking to Pat, and I was like, I said something about I don't know if I can say name drop brands, but I
do it all the time.
I was like, Rationale's junk, and you're like, shut up. You're like, you just don't know. You just don't know them yet. And I was like, oh, okay, you're right. And now I'm like, oh yeah, this is the Cadillac.
Yeah,
they all have their ups and downs.
When it comes to fryers, henny penny's, I think by far my favorite out of every brand that I've worked on. Like you said, you start working on other stuff and you're like, henny penny does it this way. Why didn't you do it this way?
Exactly. I mean, and it's like, you have a lot of like really simple brands who set it up differently, which when you're first, I guess if you're new, the simple brands, like if you're new to servicing them, the simpler brands you're going to like more because it's more simple. But once you get the hang of it and you get more comfortable with your job and the industry, it's like, henny penny is over the past, even though I've changed, a pump and a motor and 2 pumps, it's still outside of that. It's still a fantastically manufactured piece of equipment. I mean, even how they do the oil distribution. I mean, it's all when you're first looking at it, it's almost, overstimulating, I guess. But once you break it all down and you really work on it, you're like, this makes so much sense, and it's all so easy to get to. You can clean all that stuff out just from 2 doors. You can get to all that stuff. So they're actually great machines. So shout out Henny Penny.
We need to get Henny Penny to sponsor the show.
Well,
that was my plug.
So Toby Overton, one of our young guns we had on a couple weeks ago, he called Henny Penny tech support, and the guy recognized his voice from the show. It was like, I watched the show, I listened to the podcast. He's like, I love what those guys are doing. I was like, did you get his name? So I call him. He said he wanted to come on the show. I was like, dude, I'd love to have a tech support guy come on the show and talk about, what they deal with, not just like what they deal with, but like what they would wish techs would check on their own before they call. I want to give, to try to give the guys something to do before they call. I mean, I've always hated calling a manufacturer, and that's always been like a last case, a last ditch effort. And, I try to give my guys as much ammo up front as could be. And, so, when I have manufacturers on, I want to do the same thing. Like, hey, what can we tell these guys to check before they call you? What's the easy things they can do? What can they, do to alleviate just the nuisance calls to these guys at the call center?
Mm-hmm. I talked to tech support for Heatcraft a couple of weeks ago, and I should have got this guy's name. He was an older guy, but I was frustrated, and you know how you get when you're in there and you're in the thick of it all, and you're just pissed off when you talk to tech support, and you're like, oh, why would engineers do it this way? Why is an engineer like this? Ah. And he was like, well, his piece of advice to me was, he was like, we as servicemen have to be smarter than the people engineering the equipment. He's like, every job, when you run into something, it's not bashing the engineer. You just have to be smarter than them. And I was like, damn, that's a great way to put it. So, and he probably deals with people bashing the setup all the time, but it's like, yeah, but we're service technicians. Like, we fix it. We don't design it. We fix it. So we got to find every way to make it right and make it make sense.
That's a great way to put it, because that really is our job. I mean, I'm sure Pat's done a lot of, fixing that was due just to bad engineering. I know I've done my fair share and had to call up and be like, if y'all did this instead of that. And sometimes they're like, holy crap, that's a good idea. Other times they're like, just deal with it. But either way, that is part of our job. Yeah.
100%.
So when I went to Frymaster, I've been to the facilities a couple times. I did the level 3 class a couple times. I went down there for trainer. And they make a point to bring an engineer in at one point during the class, and like, you can ask him questions, you can give them stuff, and they've actually taken stuff from technicians and rolled it into their units. So Frymaster is one that actually will listen, to the techs out there. So
I do like Frymaster tech support. There's a guy that works there. His name Ron, I think. I think is it Ron? I don't know, but
Lynn?
He's super. Maybe it's Lynn. Is he an older guy?
Yeah.
Lynn.
Well, I'd say Southern Draw, but they all pretty much got Southern Draw down there. So
yeah, it's Baton Rouge, baby. Or is it Baton Rouge, Louisiana? Shreveport. Yeah, close enough.
So it's a cool facility if you ever get a chance to go down there. I think they're pretty much, I don't even know if they're doing it anymore. They closed their one building and moved over to the other building. So I'm not even sure what they're doing. It's a wild time for a lot of these manufacturers. They're all changing how they do things. So
speaking of training, are you doing Cefesa again?
Yep, I will be in Cefesa in November. So I think there's only one refrigeration class on the book next year. I'm going to double check it. Last time I seen it, there was only one. I think they want to focus on, like, in the spring, having me, and there's another guy come in and revamp the class. They got some new mock-ups they brought in, but they really want to just go through the program and just redo it, start over, try to get it a lot more refrigeration hands-on versus the class. Because if you were to go to that class before I started, it was like 85% like slides, and some of the stuff's from the 80s, dude, early 90s. And it's excruciating.
Yeah.
So, and I've got to like 60-40, just depending on the class, how I feel. If they're doing pretty good, we can skip a lot of the classroom stuff. I go over it fast, but try to keep them in the labs. I know they got a walk-in box coming, and they've got some pretty more equipment coming in, and they want to do some more stuff. So I think I'm going to go down there in March or April and maybe spend a weekend or 4 days down there and work on that with another guy. So we'll see. But I was asked to come back in November, and I'm excited for it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I'd like to teach, but I don't know if I could teach full time right now. Right now, I couldn't for sure, but in the future, it'd be a different story. But right now, I don't have that mentality, dude. It'd be cool for like a month, and then be like, oh, I can't do this. Give me a van back.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. You don't want to add more on your plate? Like, that's the Pat special, isn't it?
Dude, my plate is the whole table, and it's still falling off. Jason looks different.
I'm not as handsome.
No, Jason's got some family stuff he's taking care of. He's up in is it Philly?
Yeah.
He's been up in Philly for almost a week. I think he's coming back next week. So,
Shout out Jason.
Yeah, he's. I haven't checked on him today. Hopefully, he's doing good. I've been trying to leave him alone. We were a little aggressive in the group chat yesterday, and he asked us to start a new one.
Oh yeah. Rich was bearing his grievances to us on the group chat.
Is that what set Jason off? He got sick of my complaining.
So Brett, no, I would not punch puppies.
Yes, you would.
I like teaching until most of the time I do pretty well. Occasionally, if someone's trying to be a smart aleck, I try to ignore it, but most of the time I end up feeding back into it, and then I get in trouble. So
I was gonna say, do you really?
I try.
Really?
It's a learning curve, man. I don't do it enough. I could see Brett, like someone trying to mess with Brett. I could just see Brett like playing mind games with somebody. So lies. So, but no, I'll be back there in November. I'm excited for it. It's always fun. It's a cool city. It's a cool area. I hang out with Dan, and me and Dan just go and drink bourbon and smoke cigars. But I think he's got to lay off the cigars. He had some stuff going off him. So,
did it really?
Getting old sucks. You know how that goes. Well,
we need to get him on the show.
I'd love for him to come on, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah, that's a cool dude.
Dude, he is a great dude, man. He's So I've got a bad habit of like texting him, and he doesn't know how to take me a lot of times over text. So he always thinks I'm mad, and I'm not mad. I'll be being a smart aleck or something, and he thinks I'm mad, and he calls me, and goes, he's like, "What are you so mad about now?" I was like, "Dude, I was just joking." He's like, "Well, I don't know how to take you over the phone. Just call me." I was like, "All right."
Start using emojis, bro.
Exclamation marks and emojis.
So that's cool. So any fun stuff you've been working on lately? Anything challenging or you wish you weren't working on?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. I guess there's nothing fun about working on filter pumps. I will say that just because it's fresh. But I mean, honestly, not really. I'm pretty okay with everything I'm working on. With everything I've been. What is that? Oh, punching puppies, man. That's harsh, man.
Brett's on one tonight, man.
I don't know, Pat. Sometimes you get mad enough. You might punch a puppy.
Like Brian said, he'll throw the stapler for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd throw a stapler. I'd throw a marker. I'd throw a pen at people. If you're sleeping, I'm throwing. If you fall asleep, I will launch something at you. I will like walk by you and just stare at you and just be quiet and just wait for you to wake up. I mean,
do people sleep in that class?
Oh, dude, people always sleep. So the very first one I taught, we had this kid. Lincoln. We called him. His name was Lincoln. We called him Screaming Lincoln because he was in the bathroom the whole time. Like he was puking. Yeah. Like he was so hungover, it was terrible. He missed like half the class. Well, come to find out, he was like 19 years old, and he was going out with these guys. Gosh. They didn't know how old he was. He was just going out with the older guys at the bar, and they weren't carding him because he was with older dudes. Dude, he was in the bathroom. I'd go in there and check on him, and he'd be hunched over the toilet snoring. I was like, man,
no. That's your responsibility.
No, that one got back to his boss. That was not my responsibility. Uh-oh.
Where'd Dusty go?
Chasing kids. Better get a beer. So, but what about you, Rich? You been working on anything cool?
Nah, just same stuff. It's been pretty slow. I've been working on like basic stuff, just trying to fill the schedule. I don't know if it's slowed down everywhere now just because of the holidays or what, but I've done absolutely nothing remotely fun. I mean, the last probably cool thing I did, was I think I texted you about it. We were changing out walk-in equipment with a 9-degree wind chill a couple weeks back, and the only reason we were doing it is because the condensate pans were leaking. They had holes in the condensate pans, and $30-something thousand, last month of the year. So I guess it's got to get done. But yeah, aside from that, it's just basic stuff.
You must have a thing for holes in condensate pans after yesterday's picture.
That was yeah.
Dude, that's where it goes, man.
Yeah, if it fits, it ships, man.
Hey, I love like the carelessness of it. Like I love just the drill. I'm like, put it in there, send it, leave.
Yep.
The only thing would have been better if you used like a 2-inch screw and just ran it into the coil.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
I would have lost. I would have been using names at that point. Like, I may get fired for this, but this is the guy that did this.
Dude, I was like, when I was making those TikToks, I was like, oh my God, if corporate watching my TikTok, I'm fired.
I had a great one the other day, and I left it up for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I gotta take this down. I gotta take it down. I took it down, but before I took it down, I sent it to my then associate branch manager, dude, and he was dying. And then I took it down. He went to go look at it again. He's like, "Where'd it go?" And I was like, "I got scared and pulled it down, dude."
Do y'all's I guess companies follow your social media or check in on it, or
Yes.
well, I guess you guys are with PT Holdings, so
Yeah, mine does.
Mine does.
Mine does.
Oh yeah, that's right. We've been over that before.
Yeah, I got in trouble.
I've gotten calls from people way above my company and pretty much the top of USG at like 9:30 at night on the way home. They're like, "Hey Pat, how are you tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, why are you calling me this late? What'd I do?"
But have you been written up for your social media?
No.
All right.
That was
So
bogus.
don't even talk to me till you get to that status.
that was bogus. So we'll get going on in the chat. So easy to fix. I used to keep a 2-inch combination wrench on the podium. If I saw someone nod and noggin, the wrench fell off the podium accidentally. At least you're not throwing it at people. So Brett says corporate watches his. Yep, I'm in the same boat, man.
I don't know if they watch mine. I'm not.
You just
I'm not
started
that
back
wrong,
up.
so-
You just started
Yeah.
back up.
I don't really say anything negative. But I'm pretty positive. You know.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
Brett-
my problem.
Brett and all his memes and his videos, man, it absolutely kills me. I love it. You can tell when Brett's bored has free time because he just does a massive dump of videos or memes, and they are all classic. So, what's up, Joel? Joel is a technician for General Parts in Minneapolis. He's on Tech Council, so we talked today a little bit, and he threw me under the bus. He called me out. So, I wrote an email, and if you're in my group text messages, Rich will understand this. My typing is atrocious. So, my phone doesn't even try anymore. And sometimes it does. Sometimes I think my phone is actually playing games with me, how it changes stuff. So I had this email explaining Tech Council, some other stuff, and I ran it through Chat GPT to clean it up. I said, check spell check and grammatical errors. They cleaned it up, made it all nice and pretty. And I sent it out, and we had Tech Council meeting today, and Joel's like, "Hey, Pat, did you have Chat GPT write your email for you?" And I was like, "Well, it cleaned it up. It didn't write it for me, but I had it clean it up for me." I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it didn't write it; it just edited it and cleaned it up because I will have grammatical errors, spelling, and I don't.
Is that how he knew ChatGPT did it because it came out clean?
No, he just said it looked really good. He said it just jokingly, and I threw myself under the bus. So it is what it is. Look, he said it was such a beautiful little essay you wrote. What's up? We got Adrian in here. Adrian's boss watches his. Yeah, I mean, someone's got to watch it, right? Adrian's his own boss for you who don't know. Oh. So
that's reliable HVCR, right?
Yep.
That dude's legit. I'll say that.
Yeah, Adrian does some really cool stuff. He's busier than probably. I know he's busier than me. I don't know how he does it because I believe he's got young kids, man, and he's owning a business, running a business. He does 2 podcasts, 3 YouTube channels, and he's all over the place, man.
He does kitchen stuff and HVAC and refrigeration, pretty much everything. Or
his family does it's Reliable Kitchens, but he does mainly the refrigeration HVAC side of it. His dad has been doing hot side for years and years and years. So, but they do it all. So his kid, I wonder why. Yeah, he says kids got him sick all December. I wonder why you were kind of slowed down a little bit on some of the newer videos and stuff. So that makes a little sense. The holidays are famous for it, man. Before my kids went to school, we were never sick, and as soon as my kids started going to school, it's like schools are petri dishes, is what I like to call them. The bacteria is just everywhere.
It's like our kids went back to school yesterday, and they get home and they're like, "Oh, my stomach hurts." I'm like, "Already? It's been a day."
They went back to school yesterday?
Yeah, from break.
That's rough, man.
Why is that? Are kids still out of school right now?
My son doesn't go back till Monday. Well, he goes back Friday for vocational because they're a different school system, and then he doesn't go back till Monday for his normal school.
Oh, geez. When they get out? I guess the week before Christmas.
They got out his vocational school got out like the Wednesday or Tuesday before, and then his high school got out the Thursday before was their last day. So, but he didn't go to school like Wednesday or Thursday because like their school, if you all you have is finals, so once you do your final, you can go home. Well, he didn't have no finals for those 2 days, so he just didn't have to go because he's in vocational. So
okay,
but he's taking auto body. He wants to learn a trade. He took auto body because his friends are in there, so he wanted to goof off. I've said this time and time again. Like this is the smartest kid out of all three of them. Like he's got like a 4.0 grade average. He's turned down National Honor Society. Every time I go to the mail, the PO box is jam full like college letters wanting to talk to him and stuff. And he's like, "Nope, I'm not going." I'm like, "Okay, dude." So, I got him talked into I think either more than likely being a plumber. So I think I'm want to try to steer him to be a plumber and then maybe start his own mechanical company eventually.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's like I've always I was considering plumbing before I got an HVAC. Just because I don't know, it's super interesting and like there's a huge need for plumbers too in the world. But of course there is for tradesmen in general.
You got a fan, Rich.
Yeah, that's facts right there. No idea who that is, but facts.
Yeah. So I took electrical. I mean, that's what I actually did out of high school as electrician for 6-7 years, and then I got into this and I couldn't do college. I worked in a factory like as soon as I graduated for like 3 months, dude. And like, it was the death of me, man. It sucked the life out of me. So,
facts also.
Chat is on it. Yeah. I can't, one of these days, Rich is going to really go off on something and it's just going to be, I don't know. It's going to be bad.
Yeah. If I ever decide to tell a specific group of people how I really feel, I'm gonna TikTok live it or something.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, Brian. So Brian said he had his review yesterday, and they asked him what his goal was, and he told me he wanted to be the best reefer tech in the company. Keep grinding, man. That's a great outlook to have. That's why I always, when they ask me what my goal is, and I was like, I want to be the number one tech in the entire company. That's always my response. And my boss is like, well, you got to come up with something else. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I don't need to come up with anything else.
I got a coworker that on his performance review. What is your goal? Retire.
That sounds like Greg. So I had Greg on the show last year. He's been doing this for like 39 years now, and like he works like a half a day a week. Like he'll work like 6 or 12 hours a week. If it's a good week, it's 12 hours. And last week they had him come in and do his inventory. He was like, "Oh, we're not putting this shit back on my truck." It's like I called him yesterday and like all this shit just bouncing, the shells are just bouncing around. I'm like, dude, what's up with your shells? He's like, oh, they took all my parts. I told him I didn't want them back after my inventory. I was like, okay. It's like, tell him how you really feel, huh?
Dude, I did that. My service manager got pissed. We did my inventory about 6 months ago, and most of the stuff on my truck we never used. So he's like, yeah, anything on the truck you don't want, just turn it in and I'll take it off your truck. So I came in with like 2 totes full of parts and brought them up to his desk. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, you said anything I don't want on my truck, you'll take it off. Here you go. But this next inventory I have at the end of the month is going to be like 15 minutes.
Dude, I got one coming up probably next week, this week or next week. I'm not sure which. And I went in Monday. I was on call and I had the trailer. And I went and dropped the trailer off. And I went in and I just pulled all my parts off, pulled all my tools off and organized my van because I've got like 2 whole shelves worth of rationale parts I got to put on my truck now because that one guy's, on the way out retiring. So I got to start carrying that again. I'm just like, I don't have room for all this because my van package is stupid. I've got the whole passenger side is like a big fold down thing and then drawers. But you can't fit nothing in the drawers because they're like 2 inches tall. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, I'm not carrying 8,000 screws. I don't need this. But so I put my pack outs in there and started throwing stuff in the pack outs, but I got a whole shelf clear. Hopefully I can jam all that rationale in there because I don't want to carry it. I've been putting it off forever. I told them, oh, we'll do it when I do my inventory. My inventory is supposed to happen like November, and it just keeps getting pushed off.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, what is the thing with inventory? It's like if it's on your truck, they don't pay taxes on it, but if it's used, how does that? I was trying to figure that out, but I think it has something to do with taxes. That's why there's always that year-end inventory. And
so they have to anything they have on the books have to pay taxes on. It's like I forget what it is, but like they don't have to pay taxes on it for so many years because it technically depreciates in value. So like work for companies like us, man. We'll carry parts for so long. If they haven't moved in so long, we literally throw them away.
Really?
And
Because it's cheaper?
Well, they get to write them off on their taxes because it depreciated all its value, and it's too old to use. And they just, dude, we've thrown stuff away left and right.
That's great. Yeah, because I saw somebody post about that in I think it maybe was the Commercial Kitchen Facebook group. And he said something about like having stock on his truck and how to get rid of it so he could not pay taxes on it. I'm like, man, that's crazy.
And most of the guys were like, don't report it.
Yeah, they're like, just say you used it or don't report it, just hide it. And somebody was like, here's my address. Like, I'll tell you how to get rid of it.
Holy crap.
Some of those guys in the group, man, some of them are good and some of them are ruthless, man. There was a guy on there today. He asked something, dude. Oh, he was working on something and he changed like 5 or 6 parts, dude. And people just unloaded on him. They're like, how about you learn how to use your freaking meter? And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
Because he was just chucking parts. I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. He came in there and he just went about it the wrong way. And dude, those guys are ruthless. Facebook it's bad, man. If I didn't have,
sorry, go ahead.
If I didn't have to do it for a lot of stuff, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Do you remember HVAC Pro Talk like years ago?
The forum?
Gosh, yeah, that was horrible. Yeah. That was like you would ask a simple. I remember I was like brand new in the trade, and I asked a simple question, and people were like, "What you?" I don't know, like this like raw stuff. I was like, "Gosh, man, chill out!" Like I'm just trying to get some answers here. Like, geez. So, but that's how a lot of Facebook groups are like that, man. Which is unfortunate because young guys will go in there and maybe have a question, maybe need to learn something, but they see all the replies and they're like, "Well, I don't want to get." I don't want to get verbally assaulted on the internet. So I'm gonna.
Then the same people that are, jumping down everybody's throat are sitting there like, why can't we get any new people into the trade? Why can't 100%. We get any new people in? Well, probably because you're a douchebag. But
yep. That's how like there's a lot of guys in companies like that too. Like, luckily where I'm at now, we're blessed to not have that. But I've been at places where it's older guys and they'll get new guys in and they're like, "What are you, an idiot? This, that. Let me just do it. Oh, he's an idiot." And then they'll same thing be like, well, no, nobody wants to work these days. It's like, no, nobody wants to work with you. Okay, that's the thing.
That's basically it, exactly.
Yeah, so it's you. I mean, it only hurts you. I mean,
yeah. One of the Facebook groups I run, I'm like, if people come in and they start talking trash, I just kick them out. I don't care. I'm like, I'm not dealing with it. I mean, I don't want that environment, because we're trying to, what we do here, we're trying to grow this community and try to grow it, and so we don't have to work as many hours. There's more guys out there shining light on what we do. And, if you're going to be an asshole to guys on Facebook group, it's not going to help you out.
Exactly.
A few years back, a guy got kicked out of the pro restaurant group. I put a post about, y'all know how I am. I don't OEM everything, especially on cold side. You know what I mean? If I can make it better, I will. And I put a post about, taking out some mechanical controls and replacing them with some Dixel Universal. And some dude started going off about me being a hack and I don't know what I'm doing. And he makes a good living cleaning up after guys like me and all this stuff. And I'm laughing about it. Like, I'm like, yeah, I actually started. I don't know if you can still find it in there, but I started like a small series of posts where I was like confessions of a kitchen hack. And I was just like making fun of the dude and he was getting pissed and coming at me. And one of the admins was like, oh, look who I'm banning today. And private messaged me. He's like, I'm banning this guy. I'm like, you ain't got to. He's like, nah, I'm sick of the way that he's going after you. I'm like, oh, whatever. I mean, you do real, but I'm having fun with this dude.
We need to bring that back. Confessions of a kitchen hack.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look in pro restaurant, I think it might still be in there. It was years ago. But
funny, I'm about to go find that.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, I could see you having fun with that. I know your personality pretty well.
Because I don't give a crap what anybody says or what anybody thinks. Like, people talk about not giving a crap, and then there's me, and I'm like, no, I'm the definition of I really don't give a crap.
People have no idea, man. You try to be nice, and it's just like, screw it, out the window it goes. So, what are some of your goals for this year, Dusty? You trying to learn anything new, or you trying to get some training on anything, or what do you got going on?
I guess, like I said, with being at a place that does a little more wide array of stuff, obviously get better as commercial, kitchen equipment technician. It's always the goal, with it being like a specialty, but also, to learn some more things, maybe get more comfortable working on some chillers and boilers and cooling towers, and try to get my hands on more refrigeration. I feel like I didn't do as much refrigeration last year as I wanted to. So I'm going to try to get a handle on that, do a little bit more of that. And mainly just, perfect the craft, and get to a point where I don't know, I guess it all just pretty much just all around be a better technician, not just what I can work on and how I can work on it, but just how I handle, stressful situations on service calls, and how I deflate situations, and how I can positively navigate through the stress that will be right around the corner this summer. So it's that's kind of where I want to be professionally. So
Sweet, yeah. Just about everybody else, just trying to be better. I didn't make anything crazy this year. I just want to stay consistent with the podcast, my social media stuff again. Managed to put an episode out every week this year. Most were live, a couple pre-recorded. Just try to be a little more present when I am home with my wife. And then work on my health, my physical and mental health, and we'll see what happens with the rest of it. I'm just let it fall into place.
Which is huge too. I want to focus on that as well. Like when I'm home, I'm home. That's and I think that's a big thing for pretty much, us and anyone who really cares about their job. You fight that constant fight of when you're at home, you're like, oh, well, I could have done this differently, or I wonder if this was the correct, appropriate fix, or how can I do that better next time? Which is good to be like that. But I also do want to work on once I'm home, pull in the driveway, walk inside, I'm home, unless I'm on call, of course, but, just trying to be more present, and which is, it's hard, like I said, if you really care about your job, but that's a resolution for me.
Rich did not get another call from corporate. Wrote up for social media content.
Is it though?
No, make it your resolution to get another call.
I was going to say, or am I at the point that it's like it is what it is?
It's a goal now.
We might have corporate watching this, so it's very likely that tomorrow I get a phone call. But
because you guys have corporate, right?
Yeah, so we have I'm General Parts, he's Whaley's, but then there's a parent company, and then there's a parent company of a parent company.
Jeez. Yeah. So is the parent company of the parent company, is it involved in kitchens, or is it like
it's Partstown. So
okay.
I'm General Parts, and it goes to Unlimited Service Group, then it goes to Partstown, and then it goes out to private investors. So
USG is under Partstown, right?
Yep. It's just the service side of it. It's a PT Holdings company. So Partstown and PT is PT Holdings. It's weird. Every time I think I get it figured out, they restructure everything.
Yeah, exactly.
They're huge, man. PT Holdings is huge. It's like Amazon of the kitchen industry.
And I mean, they own residential parts companies now.
Really?
Laundry companies now. Yeah, it's just growing nonstop, man. It's wild.
Laundry, like commercial laundry?
Yep.
No. I didn't know Electrolux was dabbled in commercial laundry applications.
Oh, Electrolux does all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, they have their hands at everything.
They do. If you call the number,
you call the wrong one, you're going to be in trouble because it's residential.
It is. They're residential, and you're like telling some guy about a combi oven, and he's like, I don't know, dude. And I'm like, what? Who the hell is this? And they're like, this is the washer and dryer department. I'm like, what?
How did I get here?
But I've since saved it. But Electrolux tech support's good, but like there really is two different. You can't Google the tech support number for their commercial product, like their ovens. It's a totally separate number. But I don't know why they set it up that way, but it's one of those, I guess elites only know it.
Well, the first time I called Randall after they got bought and it said Electrolux, I hung up. I was like, what the hell? I was like, no. And then I called back and you get back into the normal, Unified Brands prompts. But yeah, I freaked out. I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
So wait, Electrolux bought Randall or Randall bought Electrolux?
No, Electrolux bought Unified Brands, which was Grown, Avtech,
okay.
Randall.
Oh, snap. Has it been a while?
Power Soak? Yeah, it's been a year or so, maybe.
Okay.
Electrolux is Italian, correct?
I think
like
so.
the combi ovens are made in Italy. I don't know about the company, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're Italian. Dude, they do everything though, man. Residential, I mean, they do. Even you get into the commercial side, dude. They got dish machines. They have. You go to Chick-fil-A and they got this little salad spinner thing. They wash their lettuce and they throw it in the thing and it spins it real fast and throws all the water out of it. Dude, they got all kinds of stuff, man.
I know Hobart makes one of those.
We used to do their panini presses at Panera Bread, and that was a freaking nightmare.
Electrolux panini press?
Yep.
Holy crap.
So Panera's had that panini press, their high-speed panini press, where they put the thing in there and it smashed it, and they cooked it in microwaves. And they came with a Gen 2, but then they went away with it. But you couldn't fix it on site. Like, you'd take a loaner, so you go out to your van, you have this 80-pound panini press in the back of your van because it's got two magnetrons, two transformers. I mean, it's a microwave and panini press in one. Then you got to take it into the shop, take it into the site. You're like, hey, you guys got a cart. Halftime it's 5,000 pounds of dishes on this cart, or you go to use a cart and one of the wheels falls off and you get this 80-pound panini press on top of it. So you swap it out and you get heated up and you got to make them cook a sandwich. It was a nightmare. It was like an hour and a half just to swap stuff out. Like, you get in there and like there'd be two customers like, we're too busy. I'm like, there's two customers in the whole store. They're getting pastries. They're not even getting sandwiches. You got to come back another time. I'm like, oh god,
that is a Panera thing. Oh, don't know if we're allowed to say that, but yeah, that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so you take the loaner, install it, and then take the piece of equipment and then repair it like at your shop?
Yep, you take it back to the shop, and we had a guy that's all he did, man, pretty much. An old guy, dude. He just we had like 8 or 9 loaners, man, and you had to make sure you wrote down where the loaner went, so you track it by GP tag and serial number. You had to put it on the call so it's signed, so you know where it went. And then you'd bring the other one back to the shop, and they'd fix it. Sometimes it was an easy fix. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, I got to change the glass. Change the glass. You got to let it cure for 7 days, and then you got to take it back. It's just, you never know what you're going to get into. It's just a nightmare.
Oh, that's Electrolux?
Yep. Well, they're pretty crazy, but like, dude, they'd turn them on with nothing in there, and they'd like they'd arc weld the lid closed. They wouldn't come back up because there'd be nothing in there. So there's metal on metal arcing, and the lid would get welded shut. I'm like, you must have thrown it away, man. We can't fix that.
Well, there's no like, I don't know how to say it. I guess
there's no dummy proofing, though.
Yeah, that's idiot proofing.
No,
I knew you were gonna pull in. I knew you were gonna say it. I knew you had it. I almost said, yeah.
You'd go there and be like, hey, I need you to test it. And dude, they just reach over, hit a button, and close the lid. And I'd be like grabbing the cord and ripping it out of the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? You're the reason this thing's broke.
Gosh. It's some of the stuff, man. It's like 40% is just, people lacking the 2% rule. So, it's which, keeps us in business, I guess. But
yeah. I'm glad we don't do those anymore because those were an absolute nightmare, man. It'd be so I live an hour from the shop. It'd be like Sunday afternoon, be like, this is Panera in Lafayette, which is like an hour and a half for me. But like, yeah, we got a panini press when you swapped out. I'd have to drive an hour to the shop. Then you're in the shop 15 minutes because you open the door, set the alarm off, pull your van in, find a loaner. Hopefully the loaner works because some of them didn't work and people wouldn't tag them. Load it up, drive an hour and a half there. You're on site for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then drive home. And it's like, dude, it's a $2,000 bill on a Sunday just to pick one up and install it. And they didn't even care. Like, we don't care. Dang. I'm like, oh my gosh, people.
How much are those? What's the list price on them?
I don't know. I haven't messed with them in years, but those are some bad memories.
It's almost like the Menu Master microwaves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you get into some repairs on those, it's like, shoot, you could have bought a whole new microwave. You know, but a lot of people will just pay to repair them, and you'll quote the repair, and they're like, oh, whatever, I just gotta get it fixed. I'm like, all right.
That's a whole
Yeah.
nother episode right there. Repair versus replace.
Dude,
It
I had
is,
a fryer today. So it's a Main Street fryer, which is like a restaurant store special. It was going to cost $1,400 to repair it. I looked it up online. It's a $600 fryer. I told the manager, I'm like, I can fix it if it's that important to y'all. I said, but this is what it goes for online. Thankfully, they called the owner and he was like, hell no, I ain't fixing that. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm like, I'll do it if you want to, but no.
Dude, you get a call for a customer and they want you to come look at their $500 like Imperial fryer, like $700 fryer. I'm like, dude, it's going to cost you $300 to get me there. Don't do this.
That's the stuff that I don't understand, because that was the thing there. Like, it was $275 just for my time there today. I'm like, that's literally halfway to your brand new fryer. Like, you kind of got to think these things through sometimes before you call us.
Exactly. I drove about a little over an hour on a service call to work on a Carnival King tabletop fryer. And you know, and I'm like, dude, I could have just picked one up on the way and saved you some money, you know. And it's
Carnival King.
And had somebody drop off was it a popcorn maker or a cotton candy maker, like something for like, you know, a little carnival, like cheap junk. I think it cost like $100 online when the technician looked it up. I'm like, it cost more for him to tell the customer that it's $100 online than if the customer would have looked on Amazon themselves and just ordered a new one. I'm like, how do you not check the price of stuff before you drop it off for repair, especially at the rates that companies charge these days?
That's like, I guess it's just they get in the mentality of it's broke, so fix it. You know, it's kind of like the lack of, what is this?
That's that panini press I was talking about at Panera.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So, yeah, this thing, the bottom is glass. It's a special glass, and it gets glued in. It's just a nightmare. So this top piece up here goes up and down, presses on the sandwich. It's just an absolute nightmare, man.
I guess that's tabletop.
Oh yeah, there's two of them side by side.
Oh, okay.
And then there's no room. They're like on top of each other. And they have like little cooling ducts that like hang on the right and left to try to suck air, and they put a little gap between them. It's just a logistical nightmare. So
yeah, it's you know, I guess it depends. Those probably are what just a few grand, I'd say maybe.
Oh no, I think probably EC to fix it was like $10,000. Dude, there's 2 microwave circuits in that thing, dude.
Oh well, yeah, I guess you're right. Just like $10K for paninis.
Dude, and they crank them out, man.
Yeah, the money they do.
Oh yeah, I mean that's probably most of their businesses. You know, panini. I guess you can. Is it just paninis in there? Or they can toast in it too, or they got like those Hatco toasters?
Oh, yeah, those are separate. But no, but they just take a sandwich. They make a panini sandwich and just stick it in there and heats it up, man. If you've never worked in a Panera, it's a totally different animal in there, dude.
I've never I've never worked in a Panera. Never had them as a customer. No, even restaurants similar to that either. So it's kind of hard to compare it.
I've only worked on a couple of their prep coolers, and then a couple of them on their turbo chefs in the back. But yeah, depending on the manager, it can be different. Because like Pat said, there can be like nobody in the store, and they're like, "This is our busy time. You can't work now." And I'm like, "There's literally nobody here, bro. Like literally nobody. Nope, you got to come back." I'm like, "Man, whatever, cool."
All right, see you in the morning.
Dude,
but they're probably busier in the morning though. When is their slow time? If that's,
but the few times I've worked there, it's just been depending on the manager. Some managers have been like slam packed, and they'll be like, "No, we need that oven. Just do what you got to do. We'll shut it down for now or whatever." But some of them, I don't know what they think they got going on. I'm like, all right, bro, whatever.
Yeah,
nice. Starbucks, yeah, Starbucks, another fun one to work in. Brett sent me pictures of puppies with boxing gloves on.
Man, he's still on the puppy kick.
He left the chat and he's going after you personally.
Oh, dude, he gets like that. He's like, I swear, me and Brett could be like twin brothers, like the way we.
I was just gonna say he's like you, right?
Oh, dude, he gets on something and he does not stop, dude. And it's like his mission. Like we've had conversations with some of the things he's done, and I'm like, dude, that's hilarious. But I could see myself doing the same thing. Yeah, there's a puppy, a dog with boxing gloves. This episode has made a huge turn, but I gotta share it now. Now that I figured out how to share this.
Tonight we're talking about puppies, boxing puppies. Oh dang!
That's the puppy that's gonna fight back.
The puppy whipped my ass. Never a dull moment around here. So, all right. So, you said you guys are, you're trying to get into some racks, some cooling towers, some geothermal stuff. Anything on those lines that really piqued your interest, or just really kicked your butt, or anything yet?
I guess working on like the cooling towers and like the big air handlers, which is once it's broken down, it makes sense, but they're kind of intimidating at first. But they're really cool. It's kind of set up to anything else. It heats and cools, and once you kind of get used to how that loop works. But it's, luckily not yet. I haven't had my butt kicked, but I love getting my butt kicked by new stuff. It means I'm learning. It means I'm gonna get it. I don't like to give up. So I'm not really comfortable with something until I get my butt kicked a couple times on it. Then I'm like, all right, we've survived. Let's move on.
I think it's called secondhand fun. Like it sucks in the moment, but like once you figure it out, you're like, okay, that wasn't too bad.
Exactly. Which is
in the moment's terrible. So
yeah. But so far, it's been, it's being able to transfer knowledge of other pieces of equipment to that, has helped a lot. But it's, I'm excited, to work on bigger stuff like that. And I'm excited to do, I've always wanted to work on, bigger scale boilers. So that'll be fun. And I actually, I have quite a bit of knowledge from it, just working on, combi ovens and, boilers and water circuits and water heaters and stuff like that. It kind of transfers to, the thermodynamics of it and how everything works and pumps. And so it's kind of like, getting to a point where you can just mesh everything you learned in the past on other pieces of equipment to something, on a larger scale. So, but it's mostly hot side. I was hired as the hot side guy, which is like, once you get that tag on your name, that you're locked in.
Yeah, that's what my dealer lately. It's like I'm working on 3 different types of pieces of equipment. It drives me nuts, man. It's like, please give me some variety because I am going absolutely insane.
Yeah, which
you're the combi oven guy, right?
Yeah, dude, combi ovens, Taco Bell fryers, and Garland grills. And Garland grills, if I did more of them, I'd enjoy it more. But the problem is I don't do them all the time, so then it's just kind of at the irritating stage. I like him, but it's just kind of irritating. But it's just like mainly it's combis, Taco Bell fryers, combis, Taco Bell fryers, combis, Taco Bell fryers. I'm like, make it stop. It's a vicious circle.
Are you the main combi guy? Or is everyone up there working on them? Or
there's 2 of us now. Well, there's the guy that has nothing on his van. Me and another guy are the 2 main combi guys. The other guys aren't trained. My son actually, like, if an overtime call comes in on a combi, he's not supposed to run it, but he goes and does it anyways.
Oh,
and if he gets in trouble, he calls me. So
that's what I do.
A couple weeks ago, he went out and worked on a rationale, and someone's like, "Did Corver go out and work on a rationale in overtime?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "He's not supposed to do that." I was like, "He figured it out and fixed it." And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Why is he not supposed to do that?
Because he's not trained on them. So rationale, like, really doesn't want you working on once you're trained. You haven't been trained on them, have you?
I've been trained on them, yeah.
So you'll see a lot of guys work on them that aren't trained, and like the bad thing is if they call for tech support, like the phone number's not in the system. It's some weird stuff, but they don't really want like non-trained guys working on them.
Which makes sense because they're expensive and complex. And I mean, if you screw something up, you're costing that customer potentially a ton of money. And at first I hated it. I hated how they did that. But kind of making an exclusive thing. But now they know that any technician that's in a location working on a rationale is able and capable to fix it, thoroughly the first time. So it just makes their equipment look better because they think, oh, well, that guy shows up and it's fixed the same day. But it's it's a slippery slope because other combi oven companies aren't set up like that. And Rationale now, if you call tech support and you're not in the system, you get like somebody like reading random, like they'll just like, you'll be like, oh, service 10, and you can hear them like just like Googling a service 10. I'm like,
Yeah.
So they still give you, but they'll send you the service brochure and all that stuff, unless you're in the system. If you're in the system, you get the legit tech support.
Well, you get jumped to the front of the line. You're in a different queue, and then the same thing with AltoSham. There's a generic line at AltoSham, and then there's a line where you put a code in, and it like jumps you into the front of the line. So
I'm gonna need that number.
Yeah. Just tell them your name's Pat Finley.
What you do is you go on LinkedIn, you find out who works at AltoSham and who's in the tech department, and you friend them, and then you just send them messages. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
You just hit them up.
I was gonna say, so that's Scott, isn't it?
Oh, poor Scott. I've been trying to get him on the show. He said he'd do it, but now it's like hunting season. I think hunting season's winding down, and training season will ramp back up. But I think he wants to do it when he's on the road, when he doesn't have something going on. So I'd love to get Scott Westbrook on here. That dude's pretty smart. He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to AltoSham. So I'm sure I'll get him on here at some point.
Is that the guy that was on that time you were kind of like, I don't know. I don't think it was negative, but you were talking about the support guy that was.
It was tech support episode, yeah, and it was him.
And then he was like, "Oh, I work there."
Yeah, he was in the stream. He was flying back.
You were like, "AltoSham is great."
I like AltoSham tech support. They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I had
they got
an
that
issue
video
with
tech
one.
support and all that.
Yep, I had an issue with one, but she no longer works there. She told me she was on the cell phone. The only reason she did it because after I was on the cell phone and it wasn't recorded. But she literally called me an effing idiot, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" I was like, "No, you did not." I was like, she was like, "Any other tech will had this found in like 15 minutes," and like I got so mad that I took every panel off this unit, and when they assembled it, they ran a wire and pinched between the panel and the frame, and it was like just occasionally it vibrated enough and it short out. It was just like some random short, and like I just happened to dumb luck find it. And like it wasn't behind it. It was like it had a loop, and the loop got tucked behind. Like say here's the bar, and the loop was tucked behind it, and it smashed between the panel. And it's occasionally it just run through, and it's just randomly short. And it wouldn't do it all the time. You get there, put a fuse in it, it'd run for like a week, 2 weeks, and then do it again. But yeah, she told me I was an effing idiot. And I was like, whoa. I was like, you're lucky you're on the cell phone. This isn't recorded because I'd be running straight to your boss.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Can they take cell phone like tech support calls
on the weekend when they're on call?
After hours.
Oh, that's right.
After hours, it's not recorded. It's on a cell phone, so they pretty much.
There's after hours tech support for AltoSham.
Yeah, you call in and like it'll send you to like an answering service, and the answering service will like ask you some questions. So they'll ask you some questions to like legitimately see what your problem is and whether it's worthy of like generating an on-call, event. And if it is, they'll call you back. But most of the time they'll call you back and I'll block the number, but occasionally someone will slip up and not block the number. And I'm like, that number is now stored in my phone.
That's like AccuTim. They do 7 days a week. Like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Indiana company.
Yeah, Fort Wayne.
Nice.
All right. Well, we were coming up on an hour. We've been all over the place. This is good just to catch up though and see what Dusty's been up to. He's growing those locks out. He's got a mullet going on, I think.
I am, man. Well, I brush it back. It just looks like a sweet mullet.
Sweet mullet. Both my sons have mullets, man. It drives me nuts. My youngest is like, he doesn't even really like brush his hair. He just gets up and goes to school. I'm like, how do you go to school like that, dude?
He rocks it, man. Well, mine is. It looks like a mullet. I just brush it back, but it's crazy because I was watching old episodes, and the first couple ones I'm on, I'm like crazy bald. I'm like all the way bald. So
I'm growing a skull.
Grow it out in the back, dude. Come on.
I'm gonna do the Hulk Hogan, man.
Just bleach it.
Just pure white and just let it flow in the wind. Give me some big sunglasses and just get a motorcycle and just.
I got a guy that I work with that if you're describing him, you say the long-haired bald guy. He's bald on top, and the rest of it's all grown out.
Skull it, bro.
All right, guys, I won't keep you any longer. But Dusty, thanks for coming back, man. And you're welcome anytime you want. You're busy. You got young kids. You got a wife you're chasing around. A career you're trying to grow. So we're we're not going to hold it against you, but you're always welcome to come back anytime you want, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, guys. If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.